Hi everybody, my name is Emily Rondel and I'm one of the regional coordinators for the 3rd Ontario Breeding Bird Atlas. Now, currently we're in the middle of winter, impatiently awaiting our first real survey season, but there's actually a lot that you can do to get ready for the next breeding season in terms of just searching in the wintertime for used nests. Now, this can actually be a really helpful activity because finding used nests from the previous breeding season allows you to see where in the landscape birds have bred the previous year. When birds breed successfully in a particular location, they're quite likely to come back and breed really close by. So by finding old nests, you can really do a lot of scouting and learn where to look the next season. Another really great benefit of looking for nests in the wintertime is you can get really up close and personal with nests without actually bothering sitting birds who are using the nest structure. You can become familiar with kind of the shape and the materials that different species use to build their nests, and you can get a greater overall understanding of their breeding ecology, which is really helpful during a project like the Atlas. Now, it's actually pretty easy to look for nests in the winter, and it's a great time to get started. The fact that leaves and foliage are kind of down means that the nests are actually a lot more exposed. So enjoy this time and get out and find as many nests as you can.
Hi, my name is Mark Peck. I'm another one of the regional coordinators for the Ontario Breeding Bird Atlas, and I'm just going to walk you through some of the steps that you should probably do if you're going to use nests as a breeding code. Now, there are some species like robin, like some of the swallow nests, like cliff swallow and barn swallow, and oriole and vireo nests that are pretty easy to identify, at least to that group of birds. But you need to go into a little more detail, and sometimes you may have to think a little more before you actually designate it to one species. But before you do that, the best thing you can do is try and document these nests as much as possible. So take a quick picture with your phone or your camera, but when you're doing so, maybe include something like a credit card, like a loonie, or like a little knife if you have it in your pocket, and try and give people an idea of just how big this nest is, so it makes it easier for us to understand the approximate size and probably the species that it belongs to. So I've taken a quick picture here. Then if I look at the nest in more detail, I see that it's mainly made out of stalks from grasses. There's not a lot of other material in. There's not a lot of lining that I can see, but lining tends to disappear when nests are spend the winter outdoors. And so what I'm thinking is this probably is a nice, fairly well-built nest of a northern cardinal. Now, I don't know for sure, but I think it's a pretty safe guess. And what I can do is I can come back here next spring and try and confirm if there's cardinals in the area. And now I know where to look for the cardinal nest that is breeding in this area. Okay, nest number 2. As you can see, first thing I want to do, I want to take a quick picture if I can, put the credit card in or something similar. And you can see this nest is much smaller. It's also in a crotch of a tree. And if you look carefully at the nest, you can see the materials that have been used by the bird are a lot different than just the grass twigs of the previous nest. These have a lot of plant fibers in them. This is probably a goldfinch nest. I'd say 95% sure goldfinch. A lot of down from plants or material like that. And it's a well-shaped, well-built nest. So it's compact, but very well built. So that's one of the easy ways to tell goldfinch. And it could be confused with a yellow warbler, but these tend to be a little higher up in the tree than yellow warblers, which tend to be more in the bushes. This one should be up about normally 6 feet, maybe up to 18 or 20 feet. All right, nest number 3, and this just shows you that habitat is not always a guarantee of where you're going to find nests. Red-winged blackbirds normally nest in cattails, but occasionally, especially in urban environments, you'll see them more and more in bushes all of the time. And you can identify this one, and what's interesting to note is look at the plastic in this nest, and it's been well incorporated. You've also got these 2 strands of the nest sort of held up by these additional branches. The nest is about the size of my hand. It's well made, well protected, and if I look inside, It's got a nice grass lining and a grassy outer exterior as well. And it's about the right size. So you've got to make sure that the nest you see is about the same size as the bird when the bird's breast is in the nest.
As you start looking for nests this winter, remember that it can be incredibly difficult to identify nests accurately to species in some cases. So don't be discouraged if, which species built which nest is not immediately clear. Sometimes it can just be impossible to tell. However, practicing and trying to figure out, which taxa or genus built a nest can be just as valuable, and you're learning really valuable lessons about nest placement, nest material, and a little bit about nesting ecology as well. So do the best you can, have fun with it, and good luck nest hunting. If you're interested in learning a little bit more about nests and how to identify them to the species that built them, check out some of these resources as a great starting point. Have a great time getting out there, looking for nests, and learning a little bit more about the amazing birds that built them.